Coming up on this edition of Carolina Insider, the North Main Dog Park has a sandy new addition that has pups feeling right at the beach. As we enter phase 2 of the vaccine rollout, all UofSC students are now eligible to get the shot.
I think it has been a long time coming.
But first, the Gamecocks have their eyes on the prize as they head to the Final Four. Carolina Insider starts now. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Betancourt. Our top story today, the Gamecocks are heading to the Final Four for the first time since 2017. They defeated the Texas Longhorns last night by almost 30 points, 16 of them scored by sophomore Zaya Cook. Texas didn't score a single point in the fourth quarter. That's the first this has happened in Elite Eight history. The Gamecocks are set to play Stanford Friday at 6 p.m. Plans to dissolve the Department of Health and Environmental Control are moving forward here in South Carolina. Some state legislators want to break up DHEC into one that focuses on health, including the safety of the state's air and water. Another would focus on the environment. This change comes from a need to streamline services, as the agency has been criticized for being slow-moving in times of need, like the COVID crisis. Speaking of COVID, today is the first day South Carolinians 16 and up can register for a vaccine. Here's with more on that in today's Soda City scene is Flynn Snyder. Flynn?
That's right, Andrea. South Carolina is beating President Biden's May 1st deadline of vaccine eligibility for all adults. Now, starting today, if you're over 16, you can head online to schedule a vaccine appointment. This is all part of the state's shift to phase 2 of the vaccine rollout, more than a month ahead of schedule. Now, this shift is especially important because all college students in the state are now able to register for a shot. This is regardless of whether you have an underlying condition or are a frontline worker. And some students we talked to say this shift couldn't come soon enough.
I think it has been a long time coming, but considering everything that's happened, I think it's come out in a pretty good amount of time.
Now, out of all approved vaccines in the U.S., Pfizer's shot is the only one cleared for use in those aged 16 and up. So far, more than 1 million South Carolinians have received at least one dose of a vaccine. That's it for this week's Soda City Scene. Back to you, Andrea.
Now that COVID restrictions are lifting in South Carolina, some animal shelters are seeing an increase in pet surrenders. As Daniel Santos reports, owners who adopted their pets during quarantine are now having a harder time fitting them into their everyday routine.
Many animals in Colombia find their way to loving homes after being found in a shelter. One such pup is Cola, who was found by Rafael Ofendo Reyes and his girlfriend in 2020.
And so she just started looking around, and there was a tiny puppy in the back. And when I saw them, I was like, there's no way she's staying here.
During the lockdown set in place as a precaution against the COVID-19 pandemic, many others also decided to adopt pets. Kathy Morrison with Pets Inc. said that the abundant amount of time at home made it easier for people to decide to adopt. Although, as lockdowns are lifted and people return to work, what happens to the animals now is the question. Deanne Jones said Palmetto Lifeline aims to keep finding homes for the animals.
With people returning to work, we're hoping that we can continue the adoptions.
A kennel worker from Pets Inc. mentioned there was an increased number of surrenders and returns to the shelter for financial issues, as well as people returning to work and school. Morrison wishes for the pets to still be safe within their new homes.
I hope that enough time has passed where families have adapted to having a pet in the home.
Cola and her family are feeling the effects of being left behind while others go to work.
My job started having me work the full 8 hours, and now that we're back at work, we think that the separation anxiety is really coming from just being alone now and not being used to it.
Right now, both shelters are preparing for people to go back to work and are providing resources and training to those that might need help with their pets. As for Cola, she spends her days playing happily. For Carolina Insider, I'm Daniel Santos.
For dog owners looking for something new to do with their pet, a local dog park on North Main Street has you covered. The Noma Bark Park has just added a new sandbox for all the animals to play in. This new addition is named the Dig Zone for your furry friends who are looking for a place to dig their paws into. If you go there, the designers want you to share pictures of your pet enjoying the sand on Instagram and tag the Bark Park. The dog park is open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., but you have to be a member to get in. That's it for this edition of Carolina Insider, a student production here in the Kennedy Greenhouse studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.